The journey of meeting what Carl Jung referred to as a twin flame is neither simple nor conventional. When someone's twin flame is married, the path that opens before you can be both challenging and transformative. What begins as a deep, inexplicable calling can, over time, reveal layers of the human psyche that are both illuminated and obscured by our own projections and desires. The return of this flame, although hidden, can be identified through subtle signs that transcend everyday realities. But what do these signs truly mean, and how can we understand the process of internal transformation that accompanies this journey, especially through the lens of Carl Jung? Prepare to discover the 3 signs that indicate the possible return of your twin flame and the profound psychological impact of this revelation. Leave a comment below sharing how you perceive your connection with your twin flame. Carl Jung, one of the greatest names in psychology, believed that we are all composed of deep layers of the psyche, which, when integrated, allow us to achieve a state of individuation, that is, the realization of our true self. Within this vision, the idea of the twin flame can be understood as a metaphor for the part of ourselves that has yet to be integrated or recognized. Jung introduced the concept of projection, which occurs when we see in another person a part of ourselves that has not yet been acknowledged or accepted. When your twin flame is married, it becomes not only a representation of a potential relationship, but also a deep psychological mirror. The projection of desires, emotions, and expectations onto another person becomes more evident in this scenario, where a strong bond with someone already committed can serve as a reflection of unresolved aspects within you, such as the desire to complete something that is missing in your own psyche. Furthermore, the concept of the shadow present in Jung's ideas comes into play. The shadow represents parts of us that we try to reject or deny, and when encountering your twin flame, you may notice these parts emerging. Union with the twin flame, therefore, is not just about the other, but about the process of internal reconciliation, the integration of masculine and feminine aspects of the psyche, and ultimately, the path of individuation. In this complicated relationship scenario, like a married twin flame, individuation and the integration of the shadow become fundamental to the individual's evolution, even when the other is not fully available. Projection is a central concept in Carl Jung's psychology, referring to the process of attributing to others characteristics and feelings that, in reality, are ours, but which we cannot recognize or integrate. In the context of a relationship with a married twin flame, the projection may take an intensified form, where the other person becomes a perfect mirror of our own expectations, desires, and emotional gaps. The experience of getting involved with a twin flame who is already committed often leads to an idealization of this person. When someone is married, the relationship is complex, wrapped in responsibilities, promises, and limitations. This can heighten the sense that the connection with the twin flame is something special, as if there were a magical or predestined dimension that separates this relationship from others. The projection of perfection in this scenario is a reflection of our own unresolved longings, a desire for something or someone to fill what we feel is missing in our life. When we see our twin flame in an idealized way, we are actually projecting aspects of our own psyche that we have yet to integrate. It may be the desire for unconditional love, for a deep connection, or even to rescue an ideal relationship we've always sought. This is amplified by the fact that the person is married, as the impossibility of the relationship creates a sense that it is unique and unattainable, which paradoxically reinforces the power of the projection. However, this idealization carries a great risk. By projecting our expectations onto the twin flame, we ignore the reality of this person and their own shadows. The twin flame is not, and never will be, a savior. It is merely a mirror that reflects parts of ourselves, parts that we often do not wish to face. The challenge here is to understand that the attraction is not only towards the other, but towards what this other is revealing about us. The twin flame is, in fact, a reflection of our own needs, repressed desires, and unfulfilled dreams. Projection can also lead to an idealization of the moments shared with this person. Even in a scenario where the twin flame is married, the mere presence of this person in your life, even if indirectly or not fully available, can make the relationship seem much more meaningful than it actually is. The idea of an impossible or forbidden love adds an element of mystery and magic that intensifies the fantasy about the other. This can create a disconnection between reality and our perception of what is happening. Within Jungian psychology, the process of projection should be observed carefully, as it reveals much more about the individual who projects than about the person receiving the projection. Ultimately, the solution to projection is not to seek the twin flame, but to understand and integrate the aspects of our own psyche that we are projecting onto the other. Jung suggested that the integration of these aspects, what he called individuation, is the path to true healing and transformation. Projection teaches us that often the true journey is to realize that what we seek in the other is already within us. When you realize that your married twin flame is, in fact, a reflection of your own psyche, what initially seemed like an unattainable love can transform into an opportunity for self-awareness. What you see and feel in relation to this person is an invitation to dive into yourself, to question your own emotional needs, and to discover what still needs to be worked on within you. The true union with the twin flame, therefore, is not in possessing them, but in understanding that they are a metaphor for the internal journey of self-transformation and individuation. Within Jungian psychology, the shadow is one of the deepest and most revealing concepts. It represents the parts of the psyche that have been repressed or denied, whether for social, familial, or personal reasons. These parts are often the traits and desires we do not want to admit, the qualities we prefer not to recognize in ourselves. When we encounter our twin flame, especially in a scenario where they are married, the shadow can become even more evident, as it acts as a mirror that reflects exactly what we do not want to see. In the case of a married twin flame, the encounter may bring intense emotional reactions, such as jealousy, frustration, and even anger. These feelings are often manifestations of our own shadow, which is being projected onto the other. The married person in some way represents what we cannot accept or integrate within ourselves, the difficulty of dealing with limitation, with the idea of loss, or even with the pain of not being able to have something we deeply desire. These feelings do not arise just because of the other, but because of how we handle our own unresolved aspects within our psyche. The shadow is not necessarily something negative. In fact, it contains immense potential, aspects of our personality that, when integrated, can transform us deeply. However, if these aspects are not recognized and worked on, they end up manifesting in distorted ways, such as projections and destructive behaviors. The shadow may, for example, manifest in the obsessive desire to conquer the twin flame, ignoring the fact that they are married, or in feelings of possessiveness that distort the true nature of the relationship. The encounter with the twin flame offers a powerful opportunity to confront these parts of our psyche. When we feel rejected or frustrated in our pursuit of this connection, we are actually being challenged to look inside ourselves and recognize what still needs to be accepted. It may be the fear of rejection, insecurity regarding our own identity, or even a deep fear of being alone. These aspects, which are often denied or buried, are waiting for the chance to be integrated and healed. In a relationship with a married twin flame, the shadow can also manifest in a more complex way, as it involves not only feelings of inadequacy, but also the confrontation with the reality that this person is emotionally committed to another. This confrontation can bring up the fear of unrequited love, the feeling of being left out, or even the anger of losing someone who we feel is our destiny. The key here is to understand that these feelings are not just about the other person, but about our own inability to deal with these issues in a healthy and conscious way. Integrating the shadow requires courage. It means looking inside ourselves and accepting parts of our psyche that we would prefer to deny. It requires being willing to face our own fears, frustrations, and limitations. In the context of a married twin flame, this integration may occur through the recognition that the person you connect with is not there to fill gaps, but to serve as a catalyst for self-awareness and internal transformation. When we begin to integrate the shadow, the process of individuation, or the path to becoming who we truly are, can advance significantly. The shadow ultimately is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be embraced as an essential part of our psyche. This process of integrating the shadow is deeply liberating, as it allows us to become more complete and, paradoxically, more authentic. When we accept our shadow, we become more capable of dealing with life's challenges, including those involving complex relationships, like a married twin flame. The work of integrating the shadow is not easy, and can be especially challenging when the other, like in the case of a married twin flame, reflects such intense aspects of our psyche. But by doing this internal work, you not only transform your relationship with the twin flame, but also with the process of self-awareness and acceptance itself. The true connection then becomes with yourself, and love in its purest form becomes a reflection of what you have learned to integrate into your psyche. Individuation, for Carl Jung, is the process by which an individual becomes what they are destined to be, achieving wholeness and integrating the various aspects of their psyche. In the context of a relationship with a married twin flame, this process of individuation becomes even more significant and challenging. Love for the twin flame, especially when they are committed to another person, may seem impossible to be realized in a conventional way. However, it is precisely in this type of situation that individuation becomes an essential journey for personal growth. When we are attracted to a married twin flame, the sense that love is unattainable or impossible to live is a reflection of the internal struggle between the desires and deep needs of the psyche. The desire for union, for completeness, clashes with the reality that this union cannot materialize as we would like. This impossible love, therefore, is not just about the other, but about the internal work it awakens in us. It is a call to transformation. Jung believed that individuation was the process of integrating all parts of the psyche, both conscious and unconscious. This includes working with the shadow, accepting our own limitations and reconciling the masculine and feminine aspects within us. In the case of a love that seems impossible, like the one experienced with a married twin flame, individuation requires deep reflection on what we are truly seeking and what we are projecting onto the other. Often the love for a married twin flame awakens issues within us that go beyond simple attraction. This relationship can reflect our own insecurities, the need to feel complete, or the desire to be recognized by someone we feel is our destiny. However, these idealizations need to be questioned. The work of individuation is exactly about facing these desires, recognizing them, but not allowing them to define or trap us. The real challenge here is learning to grow, even when the reality of the relationship does not match our expectations. In many situations, the married twin flame cannot offer us the type of relationship we have idealized. This person, like all of us, has their own journey, and their individuation process is as important as ours. The challenge is to accept that, even without a physical or emotional union with this person, the encounter with them can be a vehicle for self-awareness and internal transformation. This requires emotional and psychological maturity, as it forces us to accept that true evolution does not depend on another being, but on ourselves. The path of individuation also involves confronting our own fears and limitations. When love seems impossible, it is an opportunity to look inside and ask, what is it that I am truly seeking in this relationship? Is it an answer to loneliness? Is it a search for validation or for a deep connection that I feel is missing in my life? Individuation challenges us to deal with these issues, not evasively but with courage and determination to face them. This process of transformation, though painful, is essential for growth. When we realize that love for our married twin flame does not need to be lived in the traditional way, but as an opportunity to deepen our self-awareness and expand our consciousness, we begin to understand that the true purpose of this encounter is the development of our wholeness. It is no longer about conquering the person, but about conquering ourselves. However, individuation also means learning to live without depending on the other for our happiness and completeness. When we are in contact with our married twin flame, we must ask ourselves, how can I grow from this situation? How can I learn more about who I am without the need for a physical or romantic union with this person? The answer lies in self-awareness, in the ability to look inside and accept all parts of ourselves, even those that are difficult to accept. Individuation also teaches us that true transformation comes from accepting our unique journey. Even if love with a married twin flame is a difficult and challenging experience, it can be the key to a deep process of inner growth. This impossible love, ultimately, can become the gateway to the realization of our true self, to individuation, and to the ability to live in harmony with the different forces that inhabit our psyche. In the context of Jungian psychology, the unification of masculine and feminine archetypes is a fundamental process of individuation. Jung believed that within each human being, there are masculine and feminine energies that need to be integrated to achieve the totality of the psyche. This symbolic union of opposites is the key to psychological maturity, and this is where the twin flame plays an essential role. When we confront the twin flame, especially if they are married, we are being challenged to explore and integrate these opposing energies within ourselves. The twin flame is not just an external being we wish to connect with, but a representation of our own psyche, of the aspects of ourselves that we seek to unite and balance. In the case of a married twin flame, this search becomes even more complex, as it is not just about wanting to be with another person, but reflecting on how these internal masculine and feminine forces can reconcile and coexist harmoniously. The masculine and feminine energy within us is much more than a simple gender division. It is about archetypal principles that influence our behavior, desires, and even our perception of relationships. The masculine energy is often associated with action, rationality, logic, and the drive to achieve external goals. The feminine energy, on the other hand, is linked to intuition, receptivity, emotional connection, and creation. Both archetypes are essential, and Jung suggested that to achieve totality, we need to integrate these aspects within our psyche, creating a healthy balance between what is rational and what is intuitive, between what is active and what is receptive. When a twin flame is married, we may feel an attraction to this person that is not just physical or emotional, but also deeply spiritual. This attraction may be a manifestation of the need to integrate these energies within ourselves. Often we project our unmet desires or ideals onto the other, hoping they will be the key to our own fulfillment. However, the real challenge here is realizing that true union does not occur between two people, but within ourselves. The encounter with the married twin flame invites us to reconcile and integrate the masculine and feminine aspects of the psyche so that we can finally find internal balance. This process of integrating opposites can be difficult, especially when the twin flame is married and therefore not available for a conventional relationship. However, this difficulty is also an opportunity for growth. The twin flame serves as a mirror that reflects not only our idealizations and desires, but also our deficiencies and unintegrated aspects. The pain and suffering caused by the impossibility of physical union can, in fact, be catalysts for internal integration work. In terms of masculine and feminine energy, the married twin flame may represent the very internal struggle between the desire for union and the need for individuality. It may also represent the tension between action, the drive to seek and conquer, and receptivity, the ability to accept the situation as it is. This internal balance between opposing forces may be what truly challenges us to grow and evolve. Furthermore, the presence of the married twin flame can force us to deal with issues of possessiveness and control. When we are in love with someone we cannot have, the masculine energies of action may conflict with the feminine energies of acceptance and surrender. This imbalance creates fertile ground for reflection on how we are handling the internal aspects of our psyche and how we can learn to balance our own internal forces. In the end, the work of unifying the masculine and feminine within us is not just about seeking harmony between these opposing energies, but also about learning to accept them, even when they conflict. The married twin flame, by reflecting these forces, challenges us to embrace the opposites within our own psyche and recognize that true union does not depend on the other, but on our ability to integrate the masculine and feminine aspects within ourselves. This integration is not a simple process, but it is essential for individuation. When we are able to balance these energies, we can achieve a state of internal harmony that allows us to deal with the challenges of life in a more balanced and mature way. The twin flame, even if married, serves as a mirror for this process, helping us understand and integrate the masculine and feminine forces that exist within us. A meeting with a twin flame, especially when this person is already married, is a profound experience that goes beyond a simple desire for union. Through the lens of Jungian psychology, we learn that true transformation occurs when we look within ourselves rather than focusing only on the other. Projection, the integration of the shadow, individuation, and the unification of masculine and feminine archetypes are the pillars that support this process of self-awareness and evolution. The twin flame, whether married or not, acts as a mirror, reflecting not only our desires and longings but also our limitations, insecurities, and unresolved aspects of the psyche. This type of journey requires the courage to confront parts of ourselves that we often avoid, but it is precisely in this process of internal transformation that we find the true power of a deep connection. The impossible love, in this case, becomes a unique opportunity for personal growth and spiritual evolution. If you are going through a similar situation, remember that true union begins within you. Subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts about this journey. Don't forget to watch the video displayed on the screen to delve even deeper into this transformation process.